heavy. Let's get Lala or Layla or Lala. Which one is it, ma'am? Layla or Lala?
I just wanted to say I understand the frustration because we all have so much frustration, but it's not like a discrimination contest. Like who's been discriminated against the most? Because we all could fight for our own self and say it's been me. We've all been made to feel like it's been us, right? Because
No,
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 okay,
that's
let
not
me
true.
hear me out. Because the fact is, if you're a woman, you couldn't even vote like 100 years ago. If
Oh,
if
Lord.
you were cheated on and your husband left, you were the one left in the cold. It's not a contest on who's been victimized the most. It's basically the parasitic governments, the parasitic religious grifter show against everyone else. Like the monarchy is a complete grift right from day one. There should never be anyone ruling over other people. Like it's a complete pile of garbage. What they did is they usurped your personal sovereignty. They usurped my personal sovereignty. They've done that to the whole planet.
Here's the thing, because people come in and black people, my found this is a learning lesson. Watch out for this. Oh man, it's the elitist. They got all of us. Here's the thing. Y'all had no problem with the elitist when they elevated you over us. All right? That's the problem. Yes, you have elitists who run everybody. But when the elitist elevated you over us, they told you, hey, you and I are white and those blacks are different, and I'm going to treat you a little bit better than them. Y'all said, cool. We ain't got no problem with that deal. So I don't want to hear about the Illuminati, the Bilderbergs, and all of that, because y'all will join forces with them against the black people. That's the problem. And that's why we need that reparations, Miss Lala. Now, how do you feel about that reparations, ma'am?
Well, I put down in your purple pill because they are completely devaluing the dollar. So by the time they try to give any reparations, I think it's going to be just useless. So I think there should be at least 10 acres per individual, not per family, per individual, at least 10 acres of land that everyone is completely sovereign over. Nobody can tell you what to do on your land. Nobody can tell you you can't collect your own water. You can grow whatever you want. If you smoke marijuana, turn the whole 10 acres into marijuana. Who cares? But each person, because land is the only thing that's going to have value in the future, I think it should be 10 acres of land minimum per individual. So that's what I
Okay,
think is a good plan.
okay, uh, okay. It just should be the money. Let's just do what they do with the Native Americans and all of these other people. Just give us the money, and we'll go get our own land wherever we want to get it. Because sometimes when we get land, they come in, the dominant society plays the whole eminent domain thing and take our land from us. So let's just get the money, and then we can boost the economy, and then we'll get the land wherever we need to get the land. That makes sense?
Well, it does, but what about someone like me? I don't even look like I have any background that would get reparations. But if you go to my parents and my grandparents, then I would be completely eligible, and I do not look eligible. So, how do you draw the line on who gets reparations and who doesn't, and all this other kind of
Great
stuff?
question. Because great question. Because I did notice you did have a Rachel Dolezal type of look on yourself. Um, where is your parents? You said, what are your parents?
Well, my parents are Aboriginal Australian, which is basically as melanated as you can get. These people actually look like the color of my phone. That's how dark that they are. And then,
Okay.
yeah, and then my mother is American Indian, which is actually like the original American Indian, not the ones later on, but the actual ones that everyone calls African, but they're not actually African. They're actually American originals.
Who? Who? Which ones?
Um,
Which tribe?
I guess a Ojibwa, I think it's called. But that's my mother is half of that. So like if you want to go to American Indians being actually the ones that they claim to be African, the actual original um, native people were actually who they call African. They called them African slaves, but they're not slaves. They were actually came over, and they're the ones that had like the Tartaria, the beautiful buildings,
I
and all those.
go back.
So,
God, I know that. Let's reel it back. Let's reel it back. I'm just trying to see you. I'm trying
oh,
to get
okay,
into you
yeah.
because you.
So they weren't in living in teepees and all this. They actually had high technology, and then the people came over and basically killed
Okay,
everyone, and then took over their like the Capitol building and things. That would have been one of our ancestors' kind of a home for them, but instead they said that they built it and all this garbage, and that we lived in
so
teepees.
okay, okay. So your mother is your mother, grandmother, basically white and Chippewa.
No, just half. It was like French and something else.
Okay, okay. There we go. Okay, so you're not qualified for reparations at all. Now, what made you think you were even remotely qualified for reparations?
Pardon me? Because it's not just one tribe that is qualified. We have all been taken and thrown out of our homes. All of our inheritances have been taken away for generations. It's not just one
Now,
type of people.
what are you?
This has been happening to everyone. So just because my family's not dark enough doesn't mean that my family hasn't had our inheritance stolen, all our trust funds stolen, been kicked off our land. Even in my time, I'm only 50 years old, and I've already had my land stolen like 3 times. I've had to get back on my feet. So
Ma'am,
it's about the
ma'am,
principle. You can't make it a competition.
what you haven't explained how you're qualified even remotely for reparations for slavery, because that's what the
Okay, if
reparations
you
is
want
for.
to if you want to make slavery the qualification, then basically everyone on the entire planet qualifies right now. Nobody has.
How,
Okay, if you were a slave 100 years ago as compared to today, at least you weren't working 3 jobs, have no time at all to talk to other humans.
ma'am? I'm not going to let you mayo babble. FBA family, are you hearing this? All right. You see how illogical they start getting? Well, everybody on the planet was a slave. They just start talking crazy. I got her muted for this. I just want the FBA family to hear this nonsense. No, ma'am, it doesn't work like that. When it comes to us, all of a sudden, everybody's supposed to benefit off of it. See, when it comes to foundational Black Americans, we're supposed to let everybody eat off us. Now, when these Native American tribes, they're getting money, it ain't everybody supposed to get some from that. All right. She didn't say that with the Native American tribes. And I'm smelling some $5 Indian juice popping off, to be honest. I'm really smelling some $5 Indian juice over here. And you're talking about your your family is dark skinned because they were Aboriginal Australian. Ma'am, that has nothing to do with our lineage claim. The reparations here in the United States is not based on skin color. It's based on lineage, ma'am. This is a lineage based claim.
Okay, I was talking about that was my father's side was Aboriginal Australia. My mother's side was from here. You're just being racist and you're not looking at the whole big picture. You are actually being racist. You're the one that
How
thinks it's you
really
are elite
objective?
eliting yourself. And
You're
no one.
slow down. You're gonna calm down. You're gonna calm down. Calm down. Because now you're starting to Karen out. Ma'am, reparations is lineage based. Reparations will only go to foundational Black Americans who were descendants of slaves in America and descendants of the freedmen in America, ma'am. All of this Aboriginal and French and ma'am, I don't know what that is. What does that have to do with us and our lineage?
I didn't realize that you were being racist. I didn't realize that someone having everything stolen from them didn't mean that they deserved reparate. You're just like looking for a specific group to put yourself into and exclude anyone else that's been victimized, which is basically the whole youth right now. They work 3 jobs, they get paid nothing. They basically get like dog food pay
Does that have to do with us being enslaved?
because the entire planet is enslaved right now, worse than in the past.
So you're trying to
I'm
say, you're trying to compare yourself, ma'am. Are you saying you're enslaved right now?
definitely everyone's enslaved right now. I think you sound like you've had it way better off than anyone. So why are
So,
you
ma'am,
have
ma'am,
you're not a slave more
ma'am,
than
ma'am, you're trying to compare you working at Starbucks or wherever you work to my family who was forced to live on a plantation and get beaten and raped and work for free until they died, and you're trying to compare yourself to that?
no, don't put words in my mouth. Anyone who's been trafficked has been
All right.
beaten and raped most of their life. All this human trafficking, there's so many people. Skin color has nothing to do with it. People are trafficked and raped in every race. So it's not
What
about
government?
skin color.
Is
You
the U.S.
you're
government?
just
Is the U.S. government sanctioning it?
yeah, and like why would people who have passed
Get off
away,
my phone.
why are you
Get off my phone. Get off my phone. All right. All right. These suspected white supremacists get to babbling and lying. They get to babbling and lying because they don't have an argument. I'm not gonna let you sit here and babble and lie. Let me get my good brother. Let me get my. I need some black intellectuals up in here to let's balance this out. Let me get my brother Terrain in here. Let me get some of the black intellectuals in here to kind of balance this crap out. Then I'm gonna get okay. Let me get Terrain, my brother Terrain.
Good morning, Tariq. How you doing?
Good, my brother. How are
I'm
you?
good, man. I started up to get some morning coffee and workout, man, and I hear you on here turning up on people, man. So I wanted to come through.
Yes, sir, man. Have you Are you hearing some of this stuff that's going on in this space?
Yeah, I've been listening for the past 10 minutes, man, and it's not surprising at all. On the one hand, man, I understand why people are saying the things they're saying because number one, man, we have a serious lack of education about what happened for Black Americans in chattel slavery, and the history is so horrific, and the mass brutality, rape, human subjugation that happened to Black people is so horrific that a lot of people don't even want to physically, psychologically comprehend it, especially if you're not Black. So what they try to
Right.
do is they try to take every other thing that's happened to other ethnic groups or what's happened to particular genders and try to align those things and try to make it seem like all these things are on the same spectrum. But there is nothing in human history, at least in recorded human history, that can match the brutality and the degradation that happened to Black Americans in the Americas. So that's all you're hearing
Real
is
talk.
people who are ignorant and don't know any better. And then when you give them the information that's so horrific, they don't want to know how to deal with it. So I'm not surprised, but it's good to be corrected. So I appreciate that from you.
Man, thank you so much, brother. Man, listen, let me tell y'all something. You suspected white supremacists, because, yeah, my man, he made a good point. They try to uh, compare themselves to what we went through where everybody's enslaved. You go to work and you work 3 jobs, and you don't have a right to disrespect the suffering of my foundational Black American ancestors. To sit here and try to compare your little janky job to what my foundational Black American ancestors went through, that minimizes the suffering and the tragedy that happened to my folks. You don't get to do that. That's why I got her ass up out of here, because that's disrespectful. I take it as disrespect. They don't do that with the Holocaust. They don't sit there and make these little janky comparisons to what happened to people in Nazi Germany, but they feel compelled to always make these little janky, minimizing comparisons. Well, everybody went through it. Yeah, I mean, I suffered too. No, no, no. They weren't sitting up here taking your children and selling them and breeding people and castrating people and uh, boiling them and dipping their head in lye and sitting here working people to the bone and ripping people from their families and hanging. And they weren't doing all that to your people and then forcing them to work indefinitely for free to build up the wealth of this nation. None of that happened to none of y'all. You understand? You don't get to minimize that after you come over here and benefit off of the suffering that our families had to endure. You came over here and just pulled up a plate and ate good. So you don't get to minimize the suffering that allowed you to come over here and eat good. You understand? And then you don't get to sit here and tell us what the reparations is going to be. I think you should get 10 acres of land. No, 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 no. We don't. We'll let you know about this money. We're letting you know what we're supposed to get. We're going to let you know what we're supposed to get. We're starting off at 20 trillion. Well, and the money is going to be valueless. Well, then give it on up then. All right, let's get Emmy Emmy M. And we've been on here for a long time. Emmy M, hop on, Emmy. Waiting on Emmy's phone to get together. It's almost 2 in the morning here in LA. 5. So it's 5 o'clock on the East Coast. Emmy, you ready to get on?
Yeah. Hi.
How are you, Emmy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Where you from? South Africa?
Kenya.
Kenya. Okay. Have you called before?
No, but I've joined your space before. Honestly, it's been interesting both times. Um, it's just it's interesting, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just want to, I'm hearing today's topic is heavily on reparations. You've mentioned deception. I mean, I've picked a couple of topics, even from the previous space where you were talking about, the Native Americans and just differentiating the history of Africans and Black Americans. Yeah.
Okay.
So I do receive and I hear this information just differently. So I do want to just have a conversation, a slow conversation on perspective. Yeah. And when I receive this, um, all this information, you hear the blacks and the whites, and I've never been to America, so purely giving you my African perspective. Yeah.
Got
This
got it.
this conversation on race, I feel had such a weight when it was about color. Yeah. And my question is, when did it become a conversation about nationalities? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like the black community has been made to have and bicker against each other and have the colorist conversation when I'm looking at it, I'm like, the entire American community is very colorist, and there has been a race, and this reparations is seems to me to be, a kind of war because yes, it's needed, but the question is exactly what are you giving back? Because throughout history, I think opportunity creates the thief. So the question is, and now what it seems like in this colorist conversation is one side is really gaslighting the other, playing the victim, try, and then they will use words like God and all all these things we've been sold on, you know, even in Africa.
Emmy,
Yeah.
Emmy.
Uh-huh.
Let me ask you something, Emmy. Let's slow down, man.
All right.
We got to unpack some. Emmy, are you married?
No.
Are you in a relationship?
No.
What was the last relationship you had?
About 2 years back.
Was it a white man?
No,
Okay. You said that black people in America are very colorist.
no, I said it seems the conversation on colorism is now amongst the black community when it should be looked at as a spectrum because the race is this race conversation.
You lose. Hold on, sweetie. Hold on.
Okay,
You're losing me. You're losing me. Where did you get the colorist thing from? Where did you get that from?
I feel like I struggle to understand the word Native American. That's where I'm. So when we're talking about Native Americans, exactly who do we mean?
Okay. Now, when she was talking about the lady earlier was talking about the red Native
Uh
Americans,
huh.
and then we have black Aboriginals. But I don't get where you're talking about colorism. I don't know where you got that from, man, because nobody has mentioned anything about black people's skin tones, and I don't know where you got that from. That's why you just kind of lost me, sister.
Okay. So what I so let me see if I can make my question clear. Yeah,
Hmm.
is this question on race? Isn't it about color still to this day? And
Yeah, we live in a
the problems that even the Americans are facing. It's purely about color, including what is happening with the immigrants. Do you consider
yeah,
that
and what's
a
happening?
struggle about color? What's happening with the immigrants in
It's
America today?
ma'am, race. It's all about racism, and that's global. Even Kenya. Do you understand? Kenya is dealing with racism, huh?
Are we? I
Yes.
feel like we're made to feel like we are, but really, when we've grown up, part of the majority is that the experience we have as Kenyans. I don't think so. I think we try.
Really?
Yeah, I think we try to have. I think we have that conversation because the Americans are having that conversation. I don't think it's our experience.
Or
And
is it
there's a
because
whole generation
you're
like,
dealing with
huh?
you're dealing with racism over there, ma'am?
Are we or is the news telling you we're dealing with racism? I mean, they call us a hub of terrorism and like they face so many things.
Ma'am, y'all dealing with racism now, ma'am. Y'all have Asians over there taking over, running the business class over there, ma'am. That's called
But are
racism.
we competing with them? Do we feel like we're being threatened
You're
by
not
them?
you're not competing with them. No, you're not competing with them. They're coming over, taking over. That's not a competing thing.
And so you feel
When the
like
Asians, when another race can come over to your country and basically take over, there's some racism at play, ma'am.
I feel like it's
Right?
I feel like it's purely political and debt and just money. I feel like it's money related. I don't know if it's about race.
Oh, so it's about money.
Yeah.
How come the black folks don't have money to take over there?
I mean, that's the question we're trying to answer, no?
Oh, let's answer it.
And
How come the black
and
people don't? How come the black people don't have no money over there, but the Asians can come over there and the whites can come over there and start running businesses left and right?
I guess we're in debt.
Why are you in debt, ma'am?
At that I still am reading and researching on, so I can't go into that, but I don't think it's about race.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it Kenya or family? Wasn't it Kenya, one of them other countries where wasn't China about to take over the airport?
It was because of debt.
Right. Uh-huh. You think race don't have nothing to do with that?
No, I do think the dollar is crashing, and I think everyone is striving to see where they're going to go next and survive.
So when the British came over and colonized Kenya and was smacking y'all around, you think that wasn't about race?
That was definitely about race.
Right. So you think it was not about race when it was over, when y'all got the paperwork independence on paper, but they still
That's
controlled the
actually how
economy
I
to a
feel.
certain.
I feel like it's become about nationality, it's become about citizenship, it's become about democracy and understanding, you know, that's when we've started talking about roots and motherland, because where did all these conversations come from? But the question is, how is this information being relayed?
Well, ma'am, the thing is, we as foundational Black Americans, we don't play the denial game like you're doing. See, you're just denying what's going on over there. You know what's happening when the other races of people
Our struggle
can
is
come
not
over
your
there and,
struggle. The way you guys feel as Black Americans is not how we feel as Kenyans. I can tell you that for
yeah,
free.
right, and you're perfectly fine with the being the majority and getting smacked around by the minority over there. You're
Are we
perfectly
being
fine with it.
smacked around though, or is the world really just shifting and changing? Because you're stuck on the check. You're stuck on the check. You're not gonna take
Stuck on the
land.
check.
You're saying give us the money back. Is the money really gaining that value? They're gonna write you that check, and then what?
We're gonna do what
Aren't
we
you
need to
gonna
do
spend
with
it?
it.
That the question of equality is going to come in, and aren't you gonna spend most of the money trying to save the people who are in prison, who are drugged up, because it's your middle class Black generation that has majority of those people in that space?
What we do with the money is inconsequential. Ma'am, y'all got bigger fish to fry over there in Kenya.
That's debatable. It's relative.
That's not debatable, ma'am. You up here talking about our reparations, and you got the Asians. When I say smack around, I've seen videos of Asians beating y'all with sticks over there, and y'all sitting around letting them.
And like I said, news is interesting, and this is where we can have conversations and really talk about, is that the experience we're having, and what are they really talking about, and what are they trying to portray to the Black community?
Ma'am, you have a colonized mind. That's why Kenya is in the shape it's in right now with Black
I
people.
mean,
And
majority of the
outside,
jobs in America are now going to go to what? Indians, Filipinos, people with tech, AI backgrounds or whatever. Then the dollar will just
the
go
majority
down
of the
and,
jobs,
huh?
you say the majority of the jobs? No, not the majority, but you know. But ma'am, over there, you guys are the majority. You're 99% of the population, and small groups of Asians are coming over there, taking over all your resources and smacking you around physically. And you're up here pointing the finger, worrying about foundational Black Americans, ma'am?
I'm not worrying. I'm trying to have a conversation and see how we understand the history,
But
really,
man,
of
y'all got
what
to
we
get
are
together.
calling this race.
Yeah, it's racial. We're not playing that game because we don't want to be down bad like you guys are. Y'all are down bad over
And you
there.
think the solution is in the check? That's all I'm trying to understand. You think the solution is in
Yeah,
the check, not land, not any other
right.
kind of
No,
reparation?
it's the money. Look, y'all got land over there. You got land, but look how you're living over there. You don't have no money. And the Asians and the white supremacists come over there and hoard all the good resources. And you guys are stuck over there in the shanty towns and them shacks over there and them shipping containers. You see? Right?
Okay.
So yeah, you got bigger fish to fry over there.
I mean,
You
is
can't
it
say, well, we're
bigger when we have,
there.
you guys have majority of the Blacks in prison, majority of them drugged up, most of the trafficking, and
No,
you've
the
accused the whites,
majority
you've
of
accused the whites of
the
having the
majority of
pedophilic and organized crime.
ma'am, ma'am, the majority of Black people are not in prison over here. What are you talking about?
But that's what they say about you guys. And so what's giving you the
There's a lot of
idea
Black
that
people in
what
prison.
you how why are you trusting the media so much on what you hear about Kenya and the experience we're having?
Well, I've been over there to West Africa. I've seen with
West
my own
Africa, I'm in
eyes
the
what
east.
I mean. That's I'm sorry. That's what I'm in East Africa. I've been over there. I've been over there. I've seen I've been over there to the Serengeti. I didn't see what's going on over there, ma'am. It's not propaganda. Y'all down bad over there, ma'am. And I saw Asians and East Indians running the economic class and the business class over there. Yeah. And they're living good over there. While you guys are all funneled over there in Kibera and all of these slums. Yeah.
So, what about the people who are in the rural areas who have their large farms, who have their coffee going on, who have their birds and their food, who grow their organic food and don't need to be in the city because you're commenting on Nairobi, really?
Mm-hmm.
So,
What,
so how badly off are they?
ma'am? Y'all have literally the biggest slum in all of Africa in Kenya, ma'am.
In East and Central, actually, the one in South Africa is the biggest.
Which one?
The one in South Africa.
Well, no, no. Kibera is bigger. Kibera is the biggest slum in Africa, ma'am. The whole, it's like a country within itself, and it's nothing but a slum. And ma'am, you're pointing the finger talking about foundation of Black Americans. I'm saying this with love. I'm not saying this to be malicious. I'm really not. I'm not saying this to be malicious. You understand? But ma'am, it's a slum with damn near a million people in it, ma'am. It's a whole slum with a million people in it. Check, because we don't want to be in no slum either. We don't end up y'all. And I say
I
that
mean,
with
what? How different
not
is
I'm
that
not
from like the way you guys have portrayed growing up in the projects and all
ma'am,
this struggle you've? I'm just asking, just
ma'am.
asking.
The projects is a condominium compared to Kibera and the mother slums. And most of us don't live in no projects. Most Black people live in working class, middle class homes. We actually live very nice over here. We have nice homes. Our joints are going to be clean. Even if you go to the projects are relatively clean. You know, it got a little janky with the drug epidemic in the 80s, but foundational Black Americans, we're generally very clean people. We don't do the slum shantytown thing. You dig? That's just not us. We've never lived like that. Even in slavery, we didn't live like that. The slave quarters, because we had to build those places, they were generally well built, relatively. You see,
Okay,
and I don't
okay.
say that to be disparaged, but the thing is,
No, no, no. I get it. And just to clarify why I'm asking all this, like I said, my exposure has been very limited. So it's interesting to be in this space and hear different people share their struggles. But also, my mom, had to go to the States, and she's worked as a nurse, as a caregiver there for 16 years.
hmm
So she had to, so all the news, all, growing up before
so wait,
the,
so
tech.
your mother is over here.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's where you're getting a lot of this information from. Your mama is sending back a lot of negative information.
a lot of news, a lot of every negative thing she sees, everything, just warning me about the
Right.
world, the
Your
world, the
mom,
world.
right. I be telling Black people this. Their families come over here with that hatred and disdain, and then they tell them, and then they come over here with it. You dig? So yeah, this is something that we've been talking about for a long time. But anyway, but thank you so much, Belinda.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you so
Thank
much. Lord, 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 Lord. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Boy, yeah, if you from a place where you have a slum with a million people in it, yeah, you really aren't at liberty to say anything about foundational Black Americans. You better get that slum together. And I done been out there to East Africa, and I done seen all of it. I done been everywhere. See, that's why people can't call up and start trying to do the Wakanda thing. No, let me talk to my FBA family for a minute. And good morning to people on the East Coast. I've been doing a marathon tonight. It's been a hot topic. We've been heavy in here tonight. I've been going for damn near 4 hours, man. I need to get my ass to sleep. Um, I was gonna say, what was I about to say? Yeah, I lost my train of thought that fast. I was about to say something. I was about to make a very good point, then I lost my train of thought. But y'all remind me in a second. I had a very good point. Somebody help me out. Raise your hand. I was about to say something. Somebody jog my memory because I've been going back and forth debating people left and right. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to say. Yes, I was talking about how these folks come in and all of you notice everybody from all of these different backgrounds, they all have this finger wagging towards foundational Black Americans. Everything is about y'all. Y'all need to do this. How come y'all ain't doing that? Y'all don't need to focus on race. Y'all stop trying to get money. It's all about what we need to do. And these people all come from these janky ass backgrounds. You come from these janky lineages, the slums of Africa, the slums of the Caribbean, the slums of Europe. You understand? Places where you all had to flee and come to our joint to tell us what we need to do. We don't need advice from you. We do not need advice from you because you didn't do what you're telling us to do. All you did was flee to the people who had something popping. Yeah. Let's get Adrian in here. Excuse me. Mr. Adrian, what's up, brother? Adrian.
Yeah, sorry, give me a second.
Mr. Adrian.
So,
How you doing, Adrian?
I'm doing good, doing good. You kind of caught me at a bad time. I thought it was actually going to take a
Yeah,
little
you got
time.
that time.
Yeah, I'm eating
And you
something right
requested
now.
to get on, not record.
Yeah.
Then why did you request to get on and then wanted to eat some avocado wraps?
Dude, I didn't think I was going to come up this quickly. Yeah, man, how you doing? I like the show. I like the show. Good breakdown.
Okay, you're in Canada, right?
No.
No, you have a Canadian accent. Where are you from?
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah. I'm not from Canada. I'm like kind of German, mixed, sort of. It's a long story. It's a long story.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
Everywhere.
Okay,
I
well,
kind of live.
get your ass off the phone. Okay, don't get you a toke of meth and then call up and don't know what you're talking about. I'm not even asking trick questions. Say, are you Canadian? Oh, I'm eating. I don't know. Where you from? I am German. I'm kind of mixed with pygmy, or I live in Wisconsin. Or okay, goddamn, dude, get your ass to sleep. You confused for no reason. What are you confused about? I'm not asking trick questions. Lord, hey, you called me at a bad time, nigga. You requested. What you talking about? You can request to get on. I was eating some Golden Graham cereal, dude. Oh Lord, we've been on here heavy. Did y'all go to? Did you go to rootworkstyle.com to get your rootwork deodorant? And since we got a lot of people from the dominant society in here, y'all need to get a book on Black history. That's a phenomenal book that was put together by me and my museum team. Hidden History from A to Z. It's a children's and young adult book. It's a great book. It's a great, phenomenal book. You can get it at hiddenhistorymuseum.com. Let your white children read it. Let them, if some of y'all, the white woman called up, I have children and I want them to be fair all right, get your white children Hidden History from A to Z. Let them learn about some Black history and learn about the country they're in and who had things popping over here for them. It's a great book. Little white kids can enjoy it too. We got little Hispanic kids, the little East Indian kids. The guy Pardeep who called earlier. Get the book. It's a great book because our history is phenomenal. And phenomenal history is phenomenal history. All right, let's get somebody named Not Sure. And George, I tried to get you up, man. This George guy, you've been trying to get up for a minute. Let's get George up before I get Not Sure because George has been trying to get on. What's up, George? Hop in.
Hey, how you doing, Tariq? Good to be up here. Um,
Yes,
hey,
indeed.
Matt. First, I wanted to say that that Lala shit was pretty crazy. Like, I couldn't believe he was talking about having two jobs or a side gig and a job. That's like slavery. That was nuts. Um,
I know,
I couldn't believe that. And also, I also wanted to say that, like, as somebody who's like out there in the working world, I do see, to your point, a lot of organizations will try to say, oh, we hired this percentage of people of color, right? Because they sort of use that
Right.
phrase when, like, you're in Atlanta, you have no black employees, and you're like, oh, look at this, we have people of color. So that shit's done a lot too. I agree with both those things.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah, that people of color thing. They'll get a white Hispanic or an Asian who identifies as white. So yeah, that's a con game.
Hundred
Go ahead.
percent. And like in the UK and Europe, it's BIPOC, right? It's BIPOC,
Right.
but it's the same. It's the same idea. Now, I'm not saying that places that have absolutely no people of other ethnicities and racial backgrounds, like that they shouldn't diversify their employee applicant pool. Absolutely, they should. But if you're trying to tackle a specific problem, you don't need to like all lives matter it, right? So I'm with you. Yeah.
Right.
Um, the one thing I wanted to mention, the one reason I came up was you had mentioned, hey, listen, oh, and by the way, just as context, I'm a huge supporter of reparations. It's a debt that's owed. It's not even like,
Yes.
hey, let's do a nice thing because it's like charity. No, man, it's like, I'm a big old capitalist, right? So I'm like, hey, it's a debt that's owed, right? Now, how you do it,
Yes.
how you implement it, there's going to be 100 different ways people debate it. There's going to be a lot of conversations, but that's fine. And if there's people saying, it's 14 trillion, there's people saying 20. Listen, I'm here for all that. But at the end of the day, it's just a debt owed. So I just want you to know I'm fully aligned with what you're talking about. Um,
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
yes, sir. Now, the only thing I wanted to mention, because I hear this a lot, and I just wanted to make a small addition or correction to something you mentioned. So Jewish people have not received any money for the Holocaust in reparations from the U.S. government. What the U.S. government did do, right, is it helped sue Nazi Germany in international court and ensure that reparations happened. And then separately, the Obama administration, they provided a grant to the federations of North America. It was about 12 million. It wasn't very much for like homeless people who were like Holocaust survivors. But there was no like the US government, our tax dollars are going to provide reparations for something that Nazi Germany did. That simply isn't true. It hasn't happened. It's never happened. I just want to make that correction. And back to your point, I do think that if people are smart, if they're creative, they can look at the example of reparations for Jewish victims of the Holocaust, and they can take some lessons away for how to try to implement a good reparations program. I'm done. Yeah.
But the Holocaust Survivors Assistance Program. I mean, that's reparations for descendants of the Holocaust.
Not exactly, no. So,
How?
yeah,
Explain
yeah.
that because they're getting money. So I don't. What? How you? That don't make
Yeah,
sense.
sure. So, the historically, right, uh, Germany has basically been providing reparations for what happened to specifically Holocaust survivors, and so those people are getting money from Germany. The United States is not taking American taxpayer dollars and paying survivors of the Holocaust for the Holocaust, for what they endured whatsoever.
But they're using tax dollars to give to the descendants, sir. Come on.
I'm not aware of them using tax dollars to give to descendants of Holocaust survivors. If you can point me to that program, if you can show me what you're referring to, I'd be happy to see it.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about the Holocaust Survivors Assistance
Okay, who's that
Program.
run by?
That's from the U.S.
Okay.
government. And the U.S. government, they are getting money from our tax dollars. So where else is this money coming from besides the
Okay,
U.S.
so
government?
I'm gonna go ahead and Google that, or if you have a link, you can send me, or I'm happy to do the work. You don't need. It's late at night. You've been working hard on this show, so I don't need to.
Right.
I don't need. I can Google that. He said it's the Holocaust Survivors Assistance Program that the U.S. government does, and you're saying it gives money to descendants of Holocaust survivors, U.S. tax dollars. I don't believe that to be the case, sir. But I'll look.
So, okay, so where are they getting the money?
I. What do you mean? Where is who getting the money?
the U.S. government.
No. The U.S. government
If
gets
they're
money from taxpayers. All the money the U.S. government has, it's from taxpayers.
okay,
But what
sir.
I'm saying is I
Okay,
don't believe that there's a program where the U.S. government, I'm not aware of, I'll put it that way, a program where descendants of Holocaust survivors in the United States get money from the U.S. government simply because their grandparent was in the Holocaust. I don't believe that's true.
well, now we're just kind of moving the envelope a little bit because there are people who are descendants of Holocaust
Mm.
survivors who do get money. It's a
For what?
fact.
What do they get money for? What's the name of the program?
Okay, now we're getting into what for. They are the descendants of the victims of the
Okay.
Holocaust.
And
Now,
what are the
the
what's the
reason
program? What's the name of the program?
I done told you one. I done told you one. The Holocaust Survivors Assistance
Okay.
Program. I done said it about
All
5
right. So I'm going to go
times.
ahead and Google that. And as far as I know, that is not the case.
But you don't know about it.
I have never heard of such a program. No.
I just told you about it. And I know
Well,
you've heard
I'm
about
right.
program.
Right. So my grandfather was a survivor of the Holocaust. Okay. My grandfather survived a like a camp, and he was then actually in a Russian POW camp after that. And he was a medical doctor, ran a hospital. I arrived to this country as an immigrant. I've never received any assistance. I've never been aware that I, as a descendant of a Holocaust survivor from another country, can get reparations, and I'm not looking for any reparations.
Okay. But I'm a foundational Black
Sure.
American, and I'm looking for reparations because we built this
Well, I
country.
support that.
Right. And we have to get what we're supposed to get. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of money that's been allocated to the descendants, and the U.S. government has helped underwrite a
So
lot
tell
of
me the
that.
name of that
There's
program.
like
It's what did you say? It's
the
Sorry.
Holocaust, the Holocaust. Man, I hate repeating stuff over
Okay.
and over again. The Holocaust Survivors Assistance Program.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, that's one. That's just one program that's definitely underwritten by the U.S. government. All right. And
So
also, the U.S. government supports the Just Act report.
Okay, so the Jewish Family Services in various cities has different Holocaust survivors assistance programs. And those programs are not primarily funded by the United States government. What happened though, which I mentioned when I first came on stage.
They are.
Well, no, no,
That's
no,
not
no. Well,
true.
well, okay, okay. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong link, but the Obama administration gave a total of $12 million at one point to provide assistance. Just like but it wasn't in reparation for the Holocaust. It was because there's like a friend of mine. It actually, was homeless for a while, and he's a Holocaust survivor, a child survivor. So it provides funds for people who are like homeless or need financial assistance who are Holocaust survivors. And it's a very small amount of money, and it was disbursed through the federations of North America, but it wasn't a reparations check, and it wasn't for the U.S. And these kinds of grants are given to lots of different communities, not just Jews, and they're not in reparation for the Holocaust, right? They're just
But,
directed to
sir,
specific groups of people.
who were victims, whose families were victims of the Holocaust, sir.
Not whose families were victims. This program, right? The one that I'm talking about with Obama, total of $12 million, not 100 million, not a billion, not a trillion, right? 12 million. It was a program, a small, tiny program to help people who were like homeless or financially destitute and who are living Holocaust survivors. And
Got
and
it.
it's
Now,
not and that's
but
not and that is not reparations for the Holocaust. It's not the United States saying we're going to pay reparations for the Holocaust.
but even but even when Germany paid those billions, it was the U.S. that was pressuring them to
The
do
US
that. The
absolutely
U.S.
did, but that's not taxpayer dollars.
Yeah,
That's the thing I'm trying to correct you on, sir, respectfully. The United States, and I agree with so much of what you said, and I admire a lot of what you're saying, right?
is my
But I'm
mic on?
just making one small correction because I hear it. I hear it a lot, and it's not true. The United States has not provided any dollars of reparation for some
Hello?
fuck shit that Germany did. It hasn't done that.
But that assistance program did, sir.
That assistance program is a total of 12 million, and it was not reparations for anything.
And
Listen, the United States government, as you know, has assistance program for all kinds of immigrants, all kinds of people, all kinds of demographics, and those assistance programs are not designed to provide reparations for what Fidel Castro did, for example, right? The US is not providing reparations for Fidel Castro, but the US has had programs for people who are homeless or veterans who are Cuban and they live in Florida or they live in somewhere else. And that doesn't mean that it's providing
Dude,
reparations
you're
for
not making
Fidel
any sense.
Castro's Cuba. It is not.
Hello?
Same thing here, right?
Dude.
okay, who's this other guy?
Yeah, hey, what's up, buddy?
Not sure.
Huh? Yeah, not sure.
What's up,
Yeah, that's
not
my
sure?
name. You know, I got it off that movie Idiocracy, so because I don't know, it's Twitter, so social media. Anyway, I don't care about the Jews. I don't care about Palestine. And yes, Germany is paying reparations to Israel's. And the only reason why Israel exists is because of the United States of America. There's no other country. It's like we are. It's like they are us. Like, and not. I'm not even talking about the government and stuff like that, right? So, but I don't know, dude. I don't give. I'm not gonna cuss in here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, man. You didn't really
No,
have
that
too
guy was
much to
just.
say. But go ahead, George. I don't want the guy to be anti-Semitic or anything like that because that's not cool. We're not doing anything like that. But go ahead. Go ahead, George.
Oh, no, I was done. My audio cut out for a second. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we
All
can
right,
hear
I'm
you.
good.
We
No,
can hear
no,
you.
I think you and I have had our exchange. I've shared kind of like the distinction I'm trying to make that, the U.S. is not currently and has not in the past. I'm always happy to be corrected, but has not, as far as I know in the past, ever created like some kind of fund and started writing checks to Holocaust survivors as reparations for what they went through, because the U.S. wasn't responsible for it, and the U.S. has never said, "Hey, we're going to pay reparations." The sheer number of Holocaust survivors in the United States is such that the 12 million that was paid very very recently would not have even been pennies across the people who are in the U.S. And it wasn't even for reparations. It was like, hey, here's this group of people. We're going to let the Jewish community administer some funds to help them because they're homeless. And the U.S. does that for lots of different groups who have not, and it doesn't claim that it's reparations for bad things that happen to those people at all. It just simply does aid to different demographics. That's all. That was my only distinction.
All right, but there are programs out there. Let's be very clear. There are programs that's underwritten by the U.S. government, and I want people to look these things up. Look up, like I've been saying, the Holocaust Survivors Assistance Program, the Holocaust Survivors Compensation and Restitution Program, where the government, they are giving restitution payments to descendants of victims of the Holocaust. And you can look this up. And it was the U.S. government that was pressuring Germany, and also the U.S. government gives a whole bunch of money to Israel too. So, come on, man, let's not act like they're not getting money from our tax dollars. It's out there.
Yeah. So I think we should really separate these things. The Holocaust Survivors and Restitution Program. I will Google it and I will read it. But again, I do not believe a program where U.S. tax dollars are going to compensate and restitute people who were hurt by Nazi Germany, Nazi Austria, collaboration.
So why do you think the U.S. is giving so many
Well,
billions of dollars to
well,
Israel?
hold on a second. Hold on. That's I'm going to get to that in 2 seconds, right? I do not. So the United States is not factually is not. I will look this program up right now if you give me 5 seconds, 10 seconds. But the U.S. is not giving millions, hundreds of millions, or billions, let alone trillions, to compensate Holocaust survivors, and never has. That said, Israel. It's interesting. So Ethiopia, Egypt, Jordan, Afghanistan. Afghanistan, by the way, has gotten a lot more aid money, and Afghanistan never pays it back, doesn't have to spend it in the United States. Israel, 95% of the money spent in Israel has to be spent on American military and American goods and services. That's by contract. So what the United States does is it keeps its military-industrial complex working so that when the US has to fight a war, it has a ready supply chain of suppliers, manufacturers who can generate, like you can't like simply keep factories, ready 24/7 without a war, but the US has to maintain capability and readiness. So what it does is it provides these grants, and essentially all of that has to be spent. 95% of it, I think, has to be spent. It used to be less, by the way. It used to be like 80, and then it went up to 95%. Has to be spent in America.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Bottom line, our tax dollars go to Israel. All right, and many of them are descendants of victims of the Holocaust. All right, that's the bottom line, George. So our money does go to victims, and your argument is a very semantical argument. Well, it wasn't. Well, it's not for it's not for being in the Holocaust, but it's the money for whatever reason they want to use to justify giving it to them. They give it to the people who just happen to be victims of a Holocaust. And all of this splaining, you're doing a lot of splaining. It's a whole lot of splaining for the same conclusion. After all that splaining, at the end of the day, Holocaust victims and their descendants still get a lot of money from the US government. Yeah, but it's not for the Holocaust. It's for some military aid. It's for this. It's for that. Okay. Well, make up some reasons so that we can get our reparations. All right, that's what I'm saying, George. Thank you. I just had to go ahead and land your plane because I now it's getting into splaining. Thank you, George. I didn't want to get into the splaining. I done gave some programs. No, it's just a little measly 12 million. Give me the measly 12 million then, if it's so measly. I'm naming the programs, and he's like, oh no, 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 no. No, those are just pennies. Well, damn it, give me the pennies. Give me the pennies. Get global reparations. Whole Israel, whole country is being propped up by the US government and our tax dollars. What are you talking about? Come on now. Boy, watch the splaining. The splaining, and I just cut them off because they'll splain forever now. They'll splain forever. You think? And the results are still there. The money is still going over there while they're splaining like they ain't getting it. Some of them $5 Indians do that same thing too. We ain't got no money. Us tribes, we don't get nothing. While he's sitting over there in a casino with no taxes, tax-free casino, balling out with Evelyn Champagne King performing at the casino and shit. I don't know. We don't be getting nothing. Yeah. Yeah, y'all getting something. And it's time to give Foundation of Black Americans what we need to get. I ain't really trying to hear all this splaining. All right? It's a lot of splaining going on. But family, let me get out of here. I done been on here way too long. But I enjoy talking to the family. It's been very informative. We chopped up a lot of great game tonight, man. We chopped it up heavy tonight. Listen, family, go to rootworkstyle.com. Get the Foundation of Black American deodorant, rootworkstyle.com, and go get the book Hidden Heroes from A to Z. It's a great book that we put together, man. Great history. Learn about Foundation of Black American history, global history. And yeah, watch my movies. Buck Breaking, it's available on Amazon Prime. You go to Hidden Colors, what is it, hiddencolorsfilm.com, Hidden Colors Film, 1804movie.com. You can go stream all my movies at fbastream.com. to really get some good game. And I got a new documentary called Microphone Check coming out in a couple of months about hip hop. So a lot of great things going on. And also we might be having a celebration in Washington, D.C. this June. And at the Hidden History Museum next month, we're going to have the Coon Train Awards. So y'all got to come through for that. Anyway, y'all, it's been real. I appreciate everybody for hanging in these many hours. It's what, 4 hours, man. You guys were hanging in heavy, and we're still in here deep. It's over 1,000 people in here, man. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I hope everything was constructive. I hope all the conversations were constructive. So anyway, man, y'all have a great night. Puppy Akute, Lola Vuve to the family. Peace.
From the culture of the American South, where roots hold stories, comes a natural deodorant inspired by generations of wisdom. Introducing Rootwork, the all-natural foundational Black American-based deodorant infused with the magic of High John the Conqueror root. Our unique blend enriched with this legendary root offers 24-hour protection, rooted in the power of nature. Embrace this deodorant that celebrates culture, history, and your well-being. Unlock the magic of Rootwork today. Experience the pure essence of nature. Visit rootworkstyle.com and make the switch to a healthier cultural choice.